Welcome, racing fans, to Fueling the Dream. Today, we're diving into the world of Formula One Academy, and I have an amazing guest. First, I want to wish you guys all of my fans, all of my listeners, a happy New Year's, Merry Christmas, and Happy Holidays to all of you. Joining us today will be Jess Edgar. It's my first camera podcast. Like I'm filming myself. You can see my face, and it's my first guest. She's an amazing driver in the Formula One Academy. She drove for karting, and uh, let me just say she was my sorry if you hear clicks, but she was my favorite in Formula One Academy. In this episode, we will explore Jess's journey from the intense competition on the track to behind the scenes of her life, her career when she started. We're gonna talk about women in motorsports. I really want to get into that, and I can't wait to start because it's my first guest. So, oh my, I'm so nervous. You will see me fangirling right now. We're just gonna wait to invite her. Wait. Okay, there. I'm just gonna send her an invite. I know this is awkward, but just you wait. Sorry if you don't hear me talking right now, but I'm sending her the invite because, and I'm gonna tell her. You don't know how nervous I am. You don't know how nervous I am. I'm so nervous. Okay, so enough talking. She will be joining soon. I'm gonna cry. So I have got some questions ready for her. As you can see, I spent all night just writing some questions. So if you see me looking like that, I'm reading from it. So let's see. Oh my god, I'm so nervous. I think I sent it. Wait, I can't see it on this phone. I'm sorry you guys are waiting so much. Like this is just only 3 minutes. You have to see. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Hello, and welcome to the podcast. I have some questions ready for you. Hope first, how was your day? How was your
Yeah, my year was good. I really enjoyed competing in F1 Academy this year, and I'm excited to see what is to come next year.
yeah? Thank you for being on my podcast. It's a pleasure. I really wanna get first in the background, like your journey. What inspired you to pursue a career in motorsports?
So my family inspired me to make a career in motorsport. I started karting when I was 4 years old, back at my local track at Rowra. So that was kind of where it started with my grandma and granddad used to race a long time ago. Then my dad and my uncle used to race, and then my cousin Johnny, and then I started, and it's kind of just gone from there, really. Looking up to Johnny all the way and wanting to be where he's been is, yeah, that's what inspired me.
That's really great. The next thing I want to ask, like, were there any challenges you faced along the way, and how did you overcome them if you faced any challenges during your
Yeah,
journey?
I think the biggest challenge for me was learning to be aggressive on track. I think in karting that was where I struggled most, like learning to get my elbows out and be aggressive in the racecraft and stuff like that. That was probably the biggest challenge for me. And then moving into cars, adjusting from karting to cars would be the biggest challenge again for me to move up. Yeah, they were the biggest challenges for me.
Yeah, because a lot of racers face that, and I get it. I want to get like into the training and preparations. What does a typical training look like for an F1 Academy driver?
So when I go training, I go to a CrossFit gym. So it's kind of a mix of everything, really, like a little bit of cardio and quite a lot of weights, more weight training. As this year, I've wanted to like up my strength a bit, and so that I'm able to hang on if I move up to like F3, so that I'm ready for the next step rather than just being ready for what I'm doing now. So this year I've been focusing a lot on strength, but yeah, usually it's a bit of a mix, bit of cardio, bit of strength.
Yeah, I get it because a lot of young racers want to become like you, and I wanted to ask that so they can learn. The next is how do you mentally prepare yourself before a race, especially at such a competitive level? Like,
Yeah, I think it's kind of just not thinking about it too much for me. Like, I think if I think about it too much, then I don't do as well as I should have. So I think it's kind of just not thinking about it too much and just going out and doing the best you can, and that's all you can do. For me, if I think about it too much, and I just don't do as well as I should. So
yeah, I fully support that because a lot of racers like don't believe in themselves, but and then I wanna like, what's your approach to understanding and providing feedback on car setups and improvements to the engineers, to the people in the car?
yeah, I think it's quite important to be able to give back good feedback for the engineer, because obviously they need to know what to do with the car, and if they do the wrong thing, then the car isn't going to be as good and you won't drive as fast. So yeah, I think it's important that you give good feedback and you're able to give good feedback, but that kind of just comes with experience and knowing what different things feel like, so that you know what to tell the engineer.
Well, I get you because I rooted for you this season, the whole season. You were my favorite. So uh, let's uh, let's talk about your racing experience. What has been like? Well, you said like some some of the most challenges and rewarding moments in your career. Like, what are you most proud of in your career so far?
I think probably my last race in Austin would be the proudest moment of my career so far. I think starting from pole, I was thinking it was definitely going to be hard to win, especially with Marta starting off P2. So my main aim was to win that race, but I didn't think it would happen with Marta, who won the championship, starting off P2. So yeah, I was really proud to have won that race, and yeah, it was definitely the proudest moment in my career so far.
As a female racing fan, I was really proud because, and some other racing fans I know, they were really proud to see like females succeeding, and we're really proud to see to be broadcasted on TV basically because we needed that. Then, is there a particular track or circuit that you find the most challenging or enjoyable to race on? Like, what's your
Yeah, I
favorite?
think Zandvoort is quite a tricky track, with all the banking and stuff. Yeah, Zandvoort was definitely my favourite. Well, Austin also, but Zandvoort was one of my favourites, joint with Austin. But yeah, it is a tricky track, and you have to be right every time because there's no runoff. It's all grass or gravel as well. So yeah, it's a really good track, fast and tricky. So I enjoy that track.
Yeah, I get you. I want to like get into the insights and aspirations. Are there any F1 drivers, past or present, who have influenced you or inspired your approach in racing? Like, who inspired you? Who's your role model,
Yeah, I
if
think
you have?
George Russell probably inspired me quite a bit. He used to be karting back when my dad was karting. He's a lot younger than my dad, but he was in cadets when my dad was racing. So he's come from where I did in karting to now become an F1 driver. So yeah, he inspires me quite a lot.
Well, I'm really glad that he inspired you because he inspires a lot of people, and I'm glad Mercedes like helps women get into motorsport more. I'm gonna get off track life. Like, how do you balance the demands of being an F1 Academy driver with personal life and or in downtime? Like,
Yeah, you don't have much time for personal life. It's pretty much all racing and training and being in the simulator. So yeah, you have very little time to see your friends and stuff. But that's part of it, and you've got to get used to not having much social life to become a racing driver because it's only going to get less as you move through your career.
yeah, I get you. Are there any hobbies or activities that you enjoy that provide a contrast to the intensity of racing? Like, what relaxes you when you're off the track, like, or on the break, like right now?
Yeah, before lockdown, in 2020, I used to do horse riding. I started horse riding before I was karting. So yeah, before 2020, when I stopped to move to karting more properly, and we all went into lockdown. Yeah, that was what I used to do other than racing, and I really enjoyed that as well.
I have gone horseback riding and it's really fun. I get you. Let's go to like to the advice and reflections side. Like, what advice would you give to aspiring young drivers and that they're aiming to follow a similar path in motorsport, in karting and all of that?
Yeah, I think the inspiration or the motivation I would give to someone wanting to follow where I've been in my career is just follow your dreams and try as hard as you can to get there, and you'll definitely get there.
Yeah, I stand by that because a lot of young they're still scared to go on because of the misogyny and all of that. Looking back, is there anything you wish you had known or done differently at the start of your career?
Um, I don't think there's anything that I'd have done differently. I think everything that I have done in my career has worked out right, and every step that I've done has helped me in some sort of way. So I think at the minute there's nothing I would have done differently because everything's kind of just slotted into place and worked out.
Yeah, I get you. How the next thing I want to ask is really important for young women that want to race. How important is for young drivers to focus on their personal brand and visibility in today's racing because you need that.
Yeah, I think it's important, like all the media side and how you look to the public and the fans is important because it's people outside of motorsport that support you rather than people inside of motorsport, sort of thing. So, yeah, I think it's important that the way you look to fans and on social media is really important.
Okay, I get that because it's really important. On future of motorsports, are there any specific changes or develop? Uh, are there any specific changes you would like to see in the sport?
I think not at the minute. There's nothing I could think of that I would want to be changed. I think F1 Academy is a really good step into changing how many women compete in motorsport, from driving to being a mechanic or engineer. So I think that's a really good step, and it's also allowing us to go back and compete with the boys when we're ready to do so. When we've done enough track time on tracks that we might go to in F3 or F2, that we can then go back and compete at the with the top boys for the championship.
Okay, the next thing I wanna ask, and I I have asked people to tell me some questions, and they wanted me to ask for this is like for women and motorcycle. Have you personally encountered any specific prejudices like hate or any specific? Well, you probably have because a lot of fans do that. But can you share like a story as a driver, like when you And how do you get? How do I say this? How can you get past that? How do you navigate around that?
Around like the heat while we're driving or off track.
Yeah, yeah, because
So when we're on track, it's obviously quite hot
yeah,
in the
okay.
car. Like in Austin, it was, I don't know, 30 degrees on off track. So driving the car was really hot. I think you just got to keep yourself hydrated and yeah, just try and be as hydrated as you can. Otherwise, you kind of lose focus and lose concentration. So I think it's just something you get used to. The more you drive in hotter conditions, the more used to it you get.
Okay, I really appreciate that answer. I have, in recent years, there's been a growing spotlight on women in motorsport. Who are some of your role models in this industry, like any females? Because
Oh yeah, I
there
think Jamie
there are
Chadwick is
a few.
probably one of my role models in the female industry. Obviously, what she did in W Series was really good, and now moving on to what she does in Indy Next is really good as well. So yeah, I think she inspires me a lot. From she did karting and moved into cars, and yeah, she's definitely really inspiring.
Um, I get that because Jimmy Chadwick is a big name for females in motorsport because she helped a lot of women to get inspiration to get into it. The next thing, what advice? Well, I ask that maybe how important do you think is media representation in showcasing the talents and achievements of females drivers, and do you think enough attention is given to women in motorsports?
Yeah, I think the attention given to women in motorsport is definitely growing. It probably isn't really enough at the minute, but it's definitely growing, and we're seeing more and more girls participating in karting or becoming mechanics or engineers because of the promoting people like F1 Academy or W Series have done. Um, so yeah, I think it's really good to see that people are promoting women, and there's definitely more coming in as well. So
Yeah, I really appreciate all of the people like the journalists like Lizzie or Jamie or anyone, especially you because you inspire a lot of girls I've
yeah,
seen. Yeah. Looking ahead, what I will ask you that. Maybe do you believe there will be a significant increase in the number of female drivers competing at the highest levels of motorsport like Formula One, IndyCar, and more?
yeah, I think there'll definitely be an increase of women competing in the competitive championships in motorsport. I think, like, maybe not now, but in a few years' time, when the girls that start in karting now move up and move into cars, there'll definitely be more and more girls. Starting from now, I think in the future we'll see a lot more girls competing in higher levels of motorsport.
Yeah, I get that because we will love to see more women in the sport. Um, as a young driver in the Formula One Academy, what are the biggest lessons you have learned so far?
Oh yeah, I think learning the tracks, and also how to drive the car and change your driving style when the car isn't quite suited to you, how to change your driving style to fix the problem. Because before I kind of just was like, yeah, I don't really like how the car is, but I've kind of been taught how to get around that and work out how to drive, how to change my driving style to fix the car sometimes.
The next question I want to ask, like, are there some goals or achievements that you have set to yourself that you want to achieve in the future?
Yeah, I think my main goal would be to get to F1. Um, but I think
Okay, we can hear
just
you.
to get as far as I can as a driver or a paid driver would be really good. So yeah, either obviously F1 is the main goal, but if I can make it to F3, F2, or if I have to go to GTs, just to make it as a paid driver would be really good.
We will love that. The next I want to ask, like, this is like a speed round. Um, let's see. What's the most? Um, which like F1 legend, like Senna or more, would you race on today? Like you're gonna race, you wanna race on the track, basically.
Oh yeah, I think I would race either Ayrton Senna or Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, they have they're very good for the sport. What's if you could win any race, like here in Formula One, if you can win any race, what race would it be like? What track?
Oh, I think I would like to win, if it could be any race, would be F1 round Monaco.
It will be cool. We love Monaco. Let's see. If um, I will ask maybe describe a memorable interaction you had with fans or supporters that touched you because
Oh yeah, I think when we met all the fans in Austin was really cool to meet everyone that was supporting us that weekend. I didn't realise how many people would be there supporting us, and yeah, to give people the signed cards and get some things back from the fans was really cool. So yeah, it's that was definitely a memorable moment with the fans for me.
yeah, in Austin there were a lot of fans that wanted to support F1 Academy and they made their bracelets and all of that. What's one thing you will tell your younger self when you started racing?
I think something I'd tell my younger self when I started racing was that if you dream it, you can be it.
I get that because they need to believe in themselves if you want to be
Yeah.
it, and they need to fight because there's a lot of, let me say, misogyny and all of that in this. What's your what I want to ask that this because what legacy would you like to leave behind as a racer and as a role model for inspiring drivers?
Yeah, I think I would like to leave behind a few race wins and obviously to inspire a lot of girls to take the same path as I did and to become an F1 driver, if to be the next woman F1 driver would be something I would like to leave behind.
We will love to see you as a F1 driver. We will support you. Um, Let me ask you. Can you can you discuss the importance of sponsorships and partnerships for the talents in motorsport? Because I have heard you really need them.
Yeah, obviously motorsport is a very expensive sport and sponsorship is pretty much needed. They're quite hard to find as every single driver that is racing in anything is trying to find sponsorship. But it's really important to have, otherwise there's a lot of us that wouldn't be competing in motorsport and or wouldn't have got very far in motorsport. So yeah, I think sponsorship is something that's really important to everybody racing in any sort of motorsport.
Yeah, as a friend I have that wants to be a driver, they need more sponsor. They need sponsorships, as they tell me. Can you maybe what do you consider that's your biggest strength as a driver, and how do you leverage them on the track? How do you show them?
Yeah, I think probably one of my strengths is my racecraft. I think that's something that comes from karting and Monza for me definitely showed that. Starting from P11 on the grid and finishing P3 was really good. So I think yeah, racecraft is probably my strength, and it's just how the race pans out whether you get to show it or not.
Well, I have a few questions left. What's looking back at your journey so far? What's the most valuable piece of advice you have received that has shaped your career as a racer from your family or another driver or someone?
But yeah, I think just when anyone tells me that if you've done your best, that's all you can do is kind of something that inspires me because sometimes you might not have done as well as you wanted to, but if you've done your best, then there's not really much else you can do.
I get that because they need that. Like let's do like this speed round. Most challenge. I will ask you. What's your dream F1 team to race for, or that, or you can say if you would you consider being an IndyCar driver, Formula One driver, NASCAR maybe, or
I
any
think
other leagues? That
I think my preference would be to be an F1 driver, and with any team would be amazing.
yeah, I get that, but a lot of drivers would love to be in Formula One, and I personally believe that some of you girls will be in Formula One day, and hopefully. What's the toughest corner or section on a track that challenges you the most that you have raced on?
I think probably Austin Sector 1 all through the squiggly bit is probably the most challenging part I've driven on, because if you get one corner wrong, the whole sector's wrong. So it's important to get every single corner right every lap. So yeah, I think that was probably the hardest section I've drove in my
Yeah,
whole
I get
career,
you.
probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to ask, like, what's a memorable interaction with field driver on or off the track? Because we love seeing you guys interacting.
Yeah, I think all the girls in F1 Academy get on really well. Me and my teammate Megan got on really well this year, and yeah, I think just getting on with everyone off track definitely makes a difference, and we're all there to become the same thing, so we all have the same interests and everything, so it's really good that we all get along and we can all speak off track.
I get it. Like, I have a few more questions. What's the one thing you always carry with you during a race weekend? The most important thing.
um I think probably the most important thing that I do every race weekend would be what I have for my breakfast. I have porridge pot for my breakfast every time I drive. Other than that, there's nothing that I do the same.
I get you. What's if you let me say it like that. What weather do you prefer to have for your racing?
I think I would prefer dry, just because I haven't really done too much in the wet. So yeah, I think I'd prefer dry.
Yeah. What do you think is the most important trait for a successful racer in motorsports?
Yeah, I think to be a successful racer, you have to have a bit of everything, a bit of being able to give feedback to your engineer, being able to put a good qualifying lap in, being able to have good race pace and good race craft. Just everything put together is what makes you successful.
Yeah, I get you. What's your if you have watched, what's your favorite racing related movie or documentary you have seen so far?
I think I quite liked watching Drive to Survive. That was probably something I've enjoyed watching the most. And obviously, when I was little, I used to watch Cars. So yeah, probably recently Drive to Survive.
Yeah, I appreciate it because a lot of fans started with that and probably with cars. What's the track you're most excited to race in the upcoming season in the new calendar in F1 Academy?
I think the track that I'm hopefully doing F1 Academy, but we're not fully confirmed yet. But if I do it, I would like to. I'm looking forward to racing at Singapore. Um, yeah, it looks a tricky track, and I'll be excited to see how we all get on there.
Yeah, it's a tricky track, but it's a beautiful one. What's best? Yeah, one of one aspect of advice you would give. One aspect of racing advice that people often underestimate or like don't get. If you get,
I think something that sometimes people think doesn't really matter is probably qualifying. I think sometimes people think, oh, it's only qualifying, like you've got your 3 races to go. But I think from experience, qualifying matters a lot, and obviously showed in Austin compared to the rest of my races in the year. So I think that's probably something that people don't realise.
I wanted to ask this: what's the best part about being an F1 Academy driver, maybe? And maybe following that question, what's your favorite racing memory from your junior career?
I think the best thing about racing in F1 Academy is the tracks we get to go to, and the amount of track time we get is really good. And for next year, the tracks that F1 Academy go to are even cooler than this year, so that's a good thing. And the amount of track time we get is a lot more than you get in other F4 categories or F3, so that's a good thing. And something from my junior career that was probably my most favourite would be winning British Championship rounds in karting.
Yeah, I get you. Maybe like that. If you could have a mentor, past or right now, which racing driver you would love to have as a mentor? Think.
I think if I was to choose a driver as a mentor, I would choose Max Verstappen. I think he's a really good driver.
Yeah, we loved seeing him dominate. He's really good, and a lot of people hate on him, but he's really good so far.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of a race weekend outside of the actual race?
Um, I think outside the actual race, my favourite part is seeing all the girls that race. We have quite a lot of fun between races and stuff. So yeah, that's probably my favourite part of the weekend, other than the racing.
I love, I love that. We love seeing the friendship. Maybe if you weren't a racer, what career path would you be?
Um, I think
That's from the race.
if I wasn't a racer, probably I would be riding horses because that's what I did before I got into racing. So that would probably be where I am now if I wasn't racing.
Well, that's all of the questions I have. Thank you so much for being my guest. I really appreciate it. What's the last thing you will see for for my listeners that wanna be like you? Maybe.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, it was a pleasure. Hopefully, we will see you in Formula One and F1
Yep.
Academy, and I will fully support you next year. Will be your
Thank
biggest fan.
you. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank, no problem. Bye. Have a nice. And oh my god, that was so the rocking. But there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We interviewed Jess Edgar. She was really literally the sweetest. I was too shy to talk to her, but I really appreciated her. She was really sweet. You should all go support her because, as you can see, she gave a lot of. What was that? She, oh my god! Wait, I'm gonna get copyrighted. Blah 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 blah. Ignore that. I'm gonna get copyrighted for that. Um, that was so amazing. As I'm fangirling. Wait, I'm fangirling. I'm fangirling. I'm fangirling right now. Ooh, okay, that was really amazing. Um, and I'm still in shock for her accepting this, but I'm really glad she did. Let me just do this. Um, I have stuff written, that's why. As we conclude this episode with Jess Edgar, her passion for racing and her dedication shine as a beacon of inspiration. We're grateful for the insights into the world of Formula One. If Jess, if you see this episode, I'm sorry. Thank you just for an incredible conversation. To our listeners, your support means the most. Stay tuned for more thrilling episodes of and more guests. Hopefully, I have maybe I'm not gonna say anything, but I will announce it on my Instagram. I'm gonna do more TikToks and I'm gonna do more posts on Instagram on fueling the dream underscore and probably Pitstop Girly. Those two are my two Instagrams account and on the TikTok F1 with Tanya and fulfilling the dream. I hope you guys like this episode. Again, I'm gonna say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Um, I can't wait for F1 to start. I'm gonna be active daily. I'm gonna review probably every race and probably will do an interview in Hungary. And hopefully we see Jess in the Formula One world soon because she deserves it and all the women that are racing in the academy deserve it. So let's all go give Jess a follow and comment nice things and DM her nice things because she deserves it. Well, that was it. I was so nervous. This was my first face interview and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Have a nice day, people!